let's talk about today and what Nicholas Moreano heard, who is now joining us here from Halas Hall. I believe we've got him. Nick, good to see you, brother. You've been in the locker room. You've been at the press conferences. Take it from there, man. What's your number one takeaway from today?
Well, I think it's just the health status too of some of these Bears playmakers that, Caleb Williams may or may not have on Sunday against the Houston Texans. But just hearing from Matt Eberflus, right off the top, saying that day to day is going to be Rome Odunze's prognosis as of so far. He is going to practice today, but he's not going to run any routes. Going to do more of the conditioning for Wednesday's practice, which will be a very physical practice that Matt Eberflus said. So that's kind of what Rome Odunze's dealing with as he deals with this MCL sprain. And then Keenan Allen will rest today with that heel. And, the benefit that I guess that Caleb Williams has, that he still does have a guy like DJ Moore, but I think that's the top story going into this one, just the health status of two of the top playmakers for the Bears. And that, creates opportunities for guys like Tyler Scott, who wasn't active last Sunday against the Tennessee Titans, but Matt Eberflus called this an opportunity. Not knowing exactly what's going to happen between Rome and Keenan, but it is an opportunity for a guy like Tyler Scott if he is asked to get more playing time on Sunday against Houston Texans.
Obviously, Mark just teed up that tomorrow Shane Waldron will speak to the media, and I'm sure you guys are going to have a lot of questions for him, but were there any questions pertaining to personnel directed at Matt Eberflus and his opinion or insights on that?
Yeah, I think the big one, seeing that Cole Kmet had less than 50% of the snaps, so Matt Eberflus was asked about that in today's press conference, and he said it was just kind of situationally way the rotation happened, and obviously they want to get Cole more involved in this offense as he should, as a guy that just got paid, but they're still looking for, Eberflus put it, as a formula to success on offense. So that may be with, maybe less Cole Kmet, more Cole Kmet. But I think for the better of this offense, you want to see 8-5 out there just because of everything he can do as a pass blocker, but also as a pass catcher. So I think that's going to be something moving forward that, the Bears are going to get. It's going to take games, I think, you guys, to get, again, that formula that Matt Eberflus is trying to find is the best one.
Was he asked about Velus?
He was not. Unlike so right after the game, guys, I don't think Velus was in the locker room. I think he was, dressed and way out of there, but he was in today's locker room, obviously. But he wasn't asked anything about Velus, but I guess we'll see from today's practice what they even have him doing. Right, because he lost his kick return responsibilities in Sunday's game against the Titans after that muffed kick. So he just wasn't asked about it in today's press conference.
I saw the Caleb portion of today. A lot of people tweeting out about how one thing he said he's got to do better is his drops. Sometimes I rush my drop a little bit, not needing to. What was your was that the biggest thing that came out of Caleb's mouth today, or was there something else?
No, I mean, that was, I think, one of the bigger ones there, Mark, because like when you watch some of those plays, it did look like he had some happy feet going through his drops. And the one play that he highlighted, Rome Odunze was open in the middle of the field, and how Caleb described it, he juiced the throw, meaning that he just tried to go all arm with it to try to fit the ball into it. But if he had just relied on his drop, he would have gotten to where he needed to be on time, hit Rome, and got the completion instead of putting the offense in not in an advantageous situation. But you know what? I think too, like he said, like with, there were several throws. He was asked about some of the throws that he missed, if he can have them back. He mentioned there were several, even 6 of them, that he highlighted in his press conference. But he also mentioned that the narrative would have been a lot different for the offense had, some of those completions have been made, and knowing that the mistakes that were made in that game, they are going to be correctable, because it's not like he hasn't been accurate before in his past, was training camp back his college days at USC. So he does feel like that those corrections can be made, and it's not some, long-term issue if you're making a huge, statement after week 1. You shouldn't, because those are throws that Caleb Williams typically does hit and make.
So with Matt Eberflus, obviously he was very vocal in the preseason of challenging Nate Davis to get out there, and the only way you're going to get ready is to to be out on that field. So now week 1 comes along, and you talk about Cole Kmet getting less than 50% of the snaps, while Ryan Bates and Nate Davis. Ryan Bates ends up with more snaps at right guard. Was there any thoughts from Eberflus on how that's shaken out? I know he said that they want to continue to do this rotation, but any extended thoughts beyond that?
Yeah, well, he was asked about, as a whole, the O-line's evaluation of the day. And so, guys, I thought it was a little surprising that he said he thought it was solid, obviously wanted better run numbers. But kind of going back to what he said about this being a physical practice, I think this is a really important practice for Nate Davis and obviously Ryan Bates in determining who's going to be that right guard moving forward, because this is where you're going to actually see, again, a little bit more intensity in Wednesday's practice as you would later on in the week. So I think that's going to be huge for just the continuity of this group. You saw Ryan Bates close out the game as opposed to Nate Davis, but they do need to get that corrected. And I know Matt Eberflus thought the evaluation of the O-line was better than what the numbers indicated, but I think we need to see the numbers also indicate that this O-line's doing better in terms of the rushing yards and also for the time that Caleb has to throw. So we do need to see both those things improved upon.
Nick, I know you spent a bunch of time in the locker room today. Anything you can tell us? I know you're working on something. I don't know if that's a secret.
It's not a secret, but for our diehards, I wanted to highlight some of the defensive plays that maybe didn't get all of the recognition. So just going around and asking some of the defensive players. Like I talked to Andrew Billings, like what was kind of cool from him, he was lining up on the edge at times, and he was really excited about that opportunity, knowing that, you know, he's not always out there, but there was a couple plays where him and DeMarcus Walker ran a few stunts and were able to hit home, and just kind of asking, like, how do you go about making sure that timing is perfect so that you can get around and getting to the quarterback? And he said, well, it just takes a lot of repetition that started all the way back in training camp. So there'll be more of a deep dive on some of those defensive plays, including from Andrew Billings, Jaquan Brisker, and TJ Edwards. I'll have it in a diehard article. But again, you have to sign up, become a diehard to get access to that in the first place.
Love it. Love it. Eric Beauchanton in the chat is asking, is Roschon Johnson going to be back at practice?
Yeah.
I did see him getting ready in the locker room, but practice starts in about 10 minutes here at Halas Hall, you guys. So once practice is over, I will make sure to take pictures of everybody that is and isn't practicing, and then we can see exactly who is out there on the Bears practice field.
All right, Nick, anything else before you go?
No, guys, appreciate the patience, though. It's, running around over here, so appreciate that. Also,
if there's anything me and Carm are good at, it's filling up time with our hot air takes.
I did a great job.
I love it.
You were.
I'm sure you guys both did a great job. Also, shout out to Patrick Norton, who's also here. If you're seeing all the tweets from CHGO Bears, that's all Patrick. He's filling in and doing a great job here at Halas Hall.
Oh yeah! Shout out to Norton.
Patrick Norton,
new guy,
knocking it down.
New guy.
That's the effort we need out of Patrick Norton and everybody else around here. If somebody else wants to take the trash out at this fine place, I would love to see that too. Never mind. I got you. Did it again today. Nick, have a great.
It's the only thing that's keeping his job at this point.
I do. That's it. It's in my contract. Carm takes out trash.
You guys are the best.
Have a great day. Thank you very much.
All right, you guys.
We all silly like the mayor.